Hey, welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. I got to tell you, we just finished the most amazing conversation that you're about to listen to with Anneli and Jordan Fielding. Now, these incredible parents are the parents of Colton, who was the star in the movie Standout about Ben Kjar and his life. And he plays young Ben in this movie. And as soon as I interviewed Ben, I was like, I have to meet Colton's parents. I have to have them in my studio. I have to just ask them what it's like to be the parents of this amazing boy, and how do you train resilience in bullying and then the potential that comes with that. Now, as a mom, I worry about my kids all the time. It's just built in. We're concerned about their safety. We're concerned about their mental well-being. We're concerned about how they're doing well in school. We're concerned about the people that they're meeting. Are their friends a good influence on them? Are they nutritionally keeping up? Like all of these things that we pour into the time and energy and effort that it takes to raise a high functioning adult starting as a little person. And I got to tell you, and I'm sure like you, we're both on our knees at night praying for our kids. We're both on our knees at night trying to figure out, are we doing everything that we can? And the Fieldings talk about this, and you're going to love this right at the beginning of the episode, what it's like to let go, what it's like to relinquish the control that we think we have as parents and to hand it off to a higher power that knows better than us and does better than us. And there's some gold nuggets that I got out of this episode, and I'm really excited for you to listen to it. There's going to be some notes in the bottom about where to go see the movie Stand Out with Ben and Colton and Nicole and all of the amazing people that put this together. But there's two takeaways that I want you to have from this. If there's at any point in your life where you've thought about, wow, I really feel like I want to have some friends in my life that push me and that make me better, this episode is for you. If you've ever been a parent of a kid who has been bullied in school, this episode is for you. If you've ever struggled to find a reason to keep going, then this episode is for you. And by the way, if you are listening to this episode and there's someone that pops into your mind while you're here, I want you to send this episode to them because there's a reason. There's a reason that they need this episode. There's a reason that their name or their face popped into your mind as you were listening, because they need something that you're about to hear in this episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of our podcast family. Thank you for sharing and commenting and getting the good word out there. You know, my mission is to put the microphone up to the voices that matter. Thank you for being here, and check it out. Is that I told my brothers and sisters that we were chatting, but I only told them after, like 2 weeks ago, my brother sent me this. He's like, have you guys seen this? And it was Ben's movie. And I was like, yeah, actually, la, 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 la. And I showed how cool I was. And I was like, I'm actually having Colton's parents on the show. And so I have 8 siblings. And I was like, will you just send me what questions you'd want me to ask or what you'd want to hear on the show? So I have some from them. And then I called my mom this morning and cried my eyes out. And what would you want to know as a mom? And she sent me all these things. So I'm going to try to not cry, but no guarantees. And I won't stop myself if I start. So those are the things. I usually let my natural curiosity just.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was like because we weren't really sure what.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions, and I want to just first and foremost honor the both of you and say thank you for being here. You guys have a hard job, and being a parent it comes with the hard job label, but you have the extra thing of watching your son go into surgery and dealing with bullies at school, and how do we cultivate strength in our boy, and that's just I don't know what kind of contract you pick up walking out of heaven to get that, but
we got lucky.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I'm into that. So this is getting good already. So all right, I'm gonna drink my water now. So So one of the questions that, well, first of all, if someone were to sit with you for an hour, how would you want them to be better off, knowing what you know, parenting like you've parented, being in this dynamic that you're in? What would you want everyone to know if they were to sit with you for an hour?
I feel like I've just learned that everyone has hard things in life. Ours is a little bit more visible, but regardless, whether it's visible or not, everyone's going through really hard things, and to have compassion for everybody. And we just all have a purpose we all have a purpose in this life and to fulfill it.
I love
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah. I think as a parent, at least for me, it's okay to make mistakes, right? Like made a lot of mistakes, maybe would have done certain things differently, but it all kind of accumulates in the end as what needed to happen. We were talking about that on the way over here, is that, I should have done this, I should have done this. But you see in the end why what happened. So that's, we're not the ones that are driving or, are in control. We, what the Lord wants to happen will happen. And then from there, he takes us even with our mistakes and trusts us even with our mistakes. So
Yeah.
We've tried to control a lot of things in it.
Yeah. And we can't. Yeah. There's no controlling certain things.
When did you first find out that Crouzon Syndrome was going to be part of your life?
It was like day 2, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we didn't know what it was specifically. So they couldn't find Colton's fontanelle.
Like when he was born. We had no idea before birth.
Yeah.
So you didn't know in utero or anything?
No. But so his sagittal suture, which is the one that goes like a mohawk down the front, down the middle of your skull, and then his left coronal, so the one on the
it's like a headband.
Well,
suture, right?
it's like if you have two that come down right here,
Okay.
and then you have one that comes, and so his left, what they call the coronal suture, those were both fused when he was born. And for people that don't know, those fontanelles and those sutures, over time, they come together so that it allows space for the brain to grow.
Yeah. Well, and I have to ask, like, at birth, those are maneuverable for a reason.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've given birth to 6 kids.
It didn't cause any complications.
Really?
If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, on that, because the rest were not fused, and so that helped. But
he did look a little different when he came out. But babies are kind
they
of...
all look funny when they come out.
They're
they're swollen and stuff. But he had one eye that was very prominent.
Oh.
But then we started to they ordered a scan because they couldn't find his fontanelle, and then oh geez, what is the doctor that reads
Radiologist? Is that
what?
The radiologist? Is
Yeah,
that
the
what
radiologist. Thank you. the rad man. I went down because Anneli was with Colton still recovering, and so I went down and stuff, and he showed me the scan, and he had pulled up, I think he Googled it, but because he pulled up what
That's
was
reassuring.
the first.
It was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was something where there's holes all over the skull.
And then I started looking at, like, while he was talking, I'm like, yeah, he does have the similarity right here, but the rest of the skulls I was looking at, it was like, wow, it doesn't seem right? Like that does not look the same, right? There's some similarities, but it didn't look the same, because he's just like, survivability and that is really low. And I'm just like, oh, great.
Yeah, it was really scary. Like, you give birth and then they take them down, do scans, and I'm sitting there by myself. I'm not even there when they're doing the scans, and I'm just hoping
I went with
everything's
Colton,
fine.
and then, but I think did I have Colton when they read the results? I don't remember. And then, but our doctor, when we went to the first visit, Dr. What was the neurologist's name?
Oh, Kessel?
Kessel, that's right. Dr. Kessel, he looked, and we told him what the radiologist said, and he looked, he's like, no, it looks like Crouzon syndrome. Like,
so he knew what he was kind of looking
So that's
for.
when we first found out it was Crouzon
But
syndrome,
I was just super impressed with him, how, like, it was just boom, and he got it right, because we didn't know till later officially with the genetic testing that's what it is. Yeah.
That's got to be so scary. You're sitting there all alone. Of course, you have to have someone with the baby at all times, and you're
so
like,
I was just alone, and I'm like, oh, I hope everything's, like, you don't even know what's going on. I've never experienced that before.
Now, he's not the oldest, is he?
No, I have. He's the third. So
he's the third
there's
one.
a
So
girl,
you've
boy, and...
had XP, as my son says. Like, you're with my oldest, when she went to the NICU, I thought everything was normal because it's my first, and I was like, oh, everyone goes to the NICU. Not so. So like something extra is happening at this point. And then they come back with Crouzon Syndrome. And then what? What does that mean?
Well, we didn't know it was specific, like it, until we assumed it was Crouzon Syndrome. So that was after we had, probably a week later that we went and saw the doctor, or 2 weeks. I can't remember.
And honestly, he was developing and everything just like a normal baby. Nothing really changed, except it was really emotionally hard for me. Like I would look stuff up on Google and see the pictures, and you would just like cry. Like I cried a lot that first little bit, and I'd go to my doctor's appointments, and they're doing like, the mental health things after having a baby, and they're like to ask me these things. Like I don't know if I can give a normal answer because my situation's so different. Like, yeah, I cry, I feel hopeless, but I don't think I'm like having postpartum depression necessarily. It's just my circumstances. It's hard.
Yeah.
Right. And so.
Move this?
Oh, that'll move your microphones a little bit. That's okay.
Yes, but it's touching her chair, and every time she moves, it's shaking my microphone.
Anyway, so he went the first 9 months without any surgeries, or really, we just had doctor checkups and visits to make sure he was doing okay, make sure developmentally he was progressing. We'd have in-home visits to make sure things were developing correctly, because the school doesn't allow room for the brain to grow. If they see any signs of, then he would need to have a surgery sooner. But he was doing fine, and so we scheduled that first surgery, and when he was 9 months old, and that's when medically things got harder. But it was probably just the emotional stuff at the first little bit. And I would see other moms with their newborns and think, why couldn't my baby be normal? Why did this happen to us? And it was like, looking back now, I feel like we're in such a better place now, and we see more of the full picture, but it was just dark for that first little bit and coming to terms with it. So.
Oh, and I appreciate you sharing that, because that's a very real thing.
Yeah.
You're not the only mom that goes through this, but it's not like there's a support group that I'm aware of for, and maybe there was, but you didn't know about it then.
I joined a Facebook
Did you find one
group on Crouzon Syndrome, but it actually made it way harder for me.
Did it really?
I would look at the stories, and there's such a range of Crouzon Syndrome. Like Colton's in the middle. There's some people that have it and don't even know they have it until they have a kid with it, because their symptoms are so minor. Then there's other ones that have shunts and trachs, and they're like way worse, and their day-to-day life is just a lot harder. Colton's pretty normal, besides having to have surgeries along the way, some minor things like his eyesight or having ear tubes or just some of those things. But he's pretty normal kid. Nothing's really stopping him from living day-to-day lives. But there's kids that are worse. I'd see things like, this was one that really scared me. There was a video of someone's eye coming out of their socket because their eyes protrude. And I saw that, and I was like, oh my gosh, is that going to happen to us? And so when I went to the ophthalmologist appointment, I brought it up, and he's like, that's actually great. Like, it's very possible it could happen, and this is what you do. And so it was like good to, realize but it did scare me. And so we actually ended up later putting some sutures on the corners of his eyes to help protect that and to make it so the opening wasn't so big. And it's thankfully never happened.
Yeah.
But seeing stuff like that and seeing the real life, this is what life's going to be like, it was really hard. And good and bad. Like, it just makes you worry a lot more seeing all of that. So I'm fine with it now. But at first, like, the support group was actually hard. It was challenging.
I can't even imagine like seeing all of that and saying, is this in my future? What do I do? And I think you made a really good point when you said, I brought it up and now I feel better because my doctor told me what to do and all of that stuff. But gosh, raising kids by itself I'm terrified when my kids go out and drive in public because of all of the maniacs on the road. That's when things are medically normal. It's scary to raise kids. And then you add this challenge on top of it. I'm sure every day is just full of
having medical challenges. I feel like affects so much, like emotionally with him or behaviorally, or so like I feel like you just have so many other challenges as well too. And every kid's different, so you figure it out with one kid, but then then you get new challenges.
Yeah. How many siblings does Colton have?
3.
Okay, so there's 4 altogether.
Yeah, we have one younger. He's our little surprise baby at the end. I honestly thought with Colton, though, I would need to just be done and focus on him more. And so I thought I was done. And then
There were other plans, other
Yeah.
places.
Back to the
apparently.
control. We don't have much control in our lives.
So you mentioned that right at the very beginning is that the number one thing you want people to know is that you don't have control. And especially for us as women, I don't know about you, but I feel very scared at the thought of not being in control. And tell me about that and how, first of all, how do we embrace that or accept it even? And then what do we do about it? I find it hard to let go of because
I know. I
ask
like
my
to
son. I'm like,
control everything, and I guess
What?
we can we can tell some examples of how we didn't have control in his life and our lives. Like one of them was when he was supposed to have a surgery, and we got a phone call the day before it was supposed to happen, and saying the surgery was canceled because the insurance denied covering it. And so Jordan got on the phone and did the impossible. He got insurance to deny it that day, or sorry, to accept it that day.
I
spent hours
spent
and
hours
hours.
on the phone. I went out in my car to talk to people so that, because I was no holds bars on how to get this going through, because I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to be, I'm going to make sure that by the time I get out of this car, it's going to, I think I spent 3 or 4 hours on the phone.
And everyone told us this is impossible. You
Yeah.
cannot get approved this day. Like we can put things into motion to get it approved, but nothing you're going to do is going to help it get approved this day. And he got it.
Like I think it was like 6 o'clock
But-
in the evening. It's like, it is approved.
And so surgery is back on.
Yeah.
And then 9 p.m. they called and said it's canceled again because it was
because there
just
was
the
no
beginning of
room in the
COVID.
ICU.
Yeah.
They didn't have the staffing or the rooms or some
And so
combination
we're like,
of the
okay,
two.
like we did everything we could, but this surgery is not supposed to happen. Turns out, because that was supposed to be his mid-face surgery when he was like 2.5 years old. And we went to the next doctor's appointment. The doctor's like, you know what? I think we need to do something different. And so it was like, he actually never had that surgery around that time. We waited a few more years, actually, until
he was
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, 5.
After
5?
the movie was made to do this mid-face advancement. But we've seen it. Well, this recent surgery, he was supposed to have it in September, and he got sick, and there's nothing we could do. Like we tried everything we could do to not be around people so we could keep him healthy, and then he still got sick, and we had to delay the surgery. And it turns out that Tanner Christensen wanted to film one more shot of him, and if he had had that surgery, he wouldn't have been able to do it. And so we're like, it just shows like it's not in our hands. It's not our plan. What's going to happen happens. And we've just learned like we can do all we can do, but ultimately it's when the Lord wants it to happen or when's best for Colton. Or
that's what I'm hearing is the initial panic of letting go of control is what it is. It's the initial panic. But what you just said, I'm not shy about talking about God at all. And what you just said gave me a sense of relief. When we try and control things, we are doing it from such a limited perspective. We can't see where it's going. We hope we know where it's going. We have our wishes for where it will go. But to relinquish control to someone that does know where it's going actually brings me this like huge burden lifted on my shoulders. I was on my knees praying the other day, and I pray for my kids all the time. And I was talking to God, and I was like, I don't know what to do as a mom. I need your guidance. I need your direction. I know where I want this to go, and I'm really worried about this and X, Y, Z. And this message came back to me that said, they're my kids too. And that hit me like your message just hit me like, oh, okay.
someone's watching out for him.
Yeah. After all I can do, you'll fill in the rest.
Well, and we feel like we try to do as much as we can. Like we still have to do our part.
Yeah,
right?
you totally pulled that dad move, and you're like, I'm not getting out of this car
Yeah.
until I have what I need.
I feel like it's my job, again, going back to our beliefs, is preside, provide, and protect. And so doing that is my job, and taking the time and the effort and stuff to do everything I can possibly do. Like I pulled out all the stops. I did everything I could do. I got a hold of the doctors. They had those meetings that they needed to have on that day. They were like everything. And then at a certain point in time, there was nothing else I could do. Like
it's not
I'd done
meant to
it.
happen.
I had done it. And I like had that, I was like, I did it, right? Like I didn't part of me thought it was impossible what I did.
Mm-hmm.
But then at that point, it's like, okay, well, now you you can't do anything more, and it's out of my hands. And I, instead of feeling like sick about it, like, 'cause there's times where something happens and I like literally, I'm just like, why? I did feel kind of a sense of relief. Like, you've done everything. Now it's out of your hands. So,
Yeah.
Well, and there's times that we still question, like this most recent surgery got delayed from September to December, and he ended up getting sick again. And I thought, like, is this surgery just not supposed to happen? Like, we're not supposed to do this. And I really went into it the morning of, like, we went the day before to get checked to see if he could still have the surgery. And we couldn't even meet with the anesthesiologist. There was no one to see. But the nurse was like, I think he seems fine. I think it'll be okay to do. And so,
like the December surgery.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so then the next morning, this day of the surgery, I go in, I'm half thinking they're going to send us home because he still has a little bit of a cough.
Oh.
And so when they actually took him back for surgery, I was like, wait, this is actually happening. Like, I was in denial, and the surgery went as planned. We had some big scares. And honestly, we were thinking, like, we had all these signs. It shouldn't have happened. And we let it happen. Like, we thought
I thought we made a mistake.
we really did.
How
Like,
do
it
you
was
differentiate?
scary.
How do you tell? Like, am I doing all I can and going against what God
I know,
wants
it's
to
what it
do,
felt
or
like.
is it like I'm overcoming and I'm getting there anyway? Like,
Yeah.
how do you know?
I don't know. Like, you do whatever you can do, and then so the September surgery, like, I was doing everything to make sure that was going through, because I knew now with insurance what to look for, right? Like,
Mhm.
all right, don't trust that everything's going. Get those approvals, months before, instead of just expecting them to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They denied it because it was cosmetic.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my gosh.
And I told them exactly what I thought, many times.
Well, they
That
even
had a
denied
huge
part
sense
of
of
it,
Yeah,
too.
I insisted on talking with the board who had made that decision, and I spoke with doctors that I let them know exactly what I thought of them, and but then for this September surgery, the one that got put off because he was sick, I felt sick about it, like the months leading up to it. Like, every time I thought about it, it just made me like physically sick.
Mm.
I didn't feel that way with the December one. Well, until after he had his surgery. So, but I didn't feel that way with the December one. And I think there's a combination of why that happened. I think part of it was the fact that he needed to be in that last scene in the movie, but I don't think his bones would have been ready for it.
Mm.
Like, they already said they were thin enough that they were worried about stuff, and there was a complication with his hard palate being broken. And I don't think if they had done it like sooner, that I think there would have been way more complications. But when he came back from surgery, 8.5 hours later,
Oh, how harrowing for
It
you.
took longer than
it
they
was,
expected.
I mean, they said 6 hours, right? And so
Still.
at 5.5 hours, I started pacing, right? And I started like, and then 6 hours, and then 7 hours, and then 8 hours. I'm like, what is going on? And then afterwards, we go in and we see him. And it was, I had to hold on him what's called a jaw thrust to open his airway. I held it there for about 15 minutes because his sats were going down. He was still waking up from anesthesia. He looked horrible. Like, he had blood all over his face. It was the worst day of my life, hands down, the worst day of my life. And I mean, Anneli can attest, like, she was strong at certain point in times, and I was strong at certain point in times, but I just broke down, and I thought I had destroyed my son's life.
And we really thought we made a mistake. Like, we had these signs, like, don't do
Yeah.
the surgery, it seemed like, and then we went ahead. And I don't know, maybe God just let everything heal because everything went really well. Like
Yeah.
he's healed up great and everything, but the doctor said we've got to make sure his eyes still work. And we're like,
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. That was our like, wait, what do you mean?
like we kind of did the surgery for his eyes, and then he says we got to make sure his eyes still work because he had done so close to his eyes that, and then his eyes were doing weird things like pulsing and not lining up, and I just was like, oh my
The
gosh.
surgery, it's called a LeFort 3 surgery, and a LeFort 3 fracture is a specific type of fracture. It's where basically you get a fracture right across the front of your face, and it literally takes your entire face away from your skull, which is what they needed to do, right?
Yeah. Okay, but it sounds like a fracture can be trauma induced
Yes,
as
so
well,
that
right? But they're doing it medically.
Yeah, there's 3 different types of LeFort fractures, 1, 2, and 3, right? A LeFort 1 is right here. A
And
LeFort
for those of you
2
that are
is
listening,
right
he's
here.
pointing to like the
Oh, yeah.
mustache area. and
Yeah.
That's the one.
And then the 2 goes across kind of your
Like where your glasses would sit.
yeah, and then the 3 is right across like the upper portion of your eyes, maybe mid portion.
Like where a
of your eyes.
mask would go. like
Well,
where my
yeah,
mask
kind of
would
like
go.
right, probably mid portion, right
Okay.
across your eyes, right there.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher. Anyways, and so that they do that on purpose, and that way you can move the face forward.
They put a big halo on,
And
and then we turned it a little bit every day to bring out that.
and
part.
so his eyes
Wow.
pulsing as he like would breathe and different things like that, you could actually see the movement in the face of which that's expected, right?
Yeah, because it's disconnected.
But
And
yeah,
that's
but a
probably why
little
his
bit
breathing was so
disconcerting. I'm not
hard.
gonna lie. I've seen a lot of things
Yeah.
in my line of work, and when it's your son is happening to, it's a little bit different.
What's your line of work?
I work for I'm a firefighter and a
Oh.
paramedic, and I also fly as a flight medic. as well.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Do you know Mike Hickman?
Yeah.
Oh, he's my brother-in-law.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if like I work for Life Flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably fly with him.
Well, no, we're both medics.
Yeah. Okay.
But Mike works for Orem. I work
Yeah.
for Provo.
Oh, wild.
And so, yeah, I've known Mike. We worked at Springville together a
You're
little bit.
kidding.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Small world.
I know Mike. You know who Mike Hickman is, right?
don't
He's
think so.
Blippy.
Oh.
Wait, there's stories there.
Do you know who Blippy is? Look
The
up
kid
the
character.
kid character, the original
show.
Blippy, and then look up what he looks like without his costume on. He looks exactly like Mike.
No kidding.
Mhm.
In fact, we were
Don't-
like,
Don't
maybe
tell
we
Mike
could-
I'm telling you this.
Mike, don't listen to this episode.
He's literally, he doesn't know this. He's literally in my phone as Blippy.
That's so funny. We're going to go to his house this afternoon. It's his daughter's birthday.
Oh, it
so,
is?
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
daughter's birthday today.
Really?
Mhm.
Happy birthday. Oh, wow.
Our
This-
daughter's birthday. So you're here too.
I am here.
Sorry. Yes,
Wow.
I know Mike. very
So,
well.
so you're because of the medical background. I love that you're using the medical terminology. You've seen
He's seen lots of
Crazy.
stuff.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of
crazy
things, and it's different.
Totally different when it's
Yeah,
your
when it's
kid.
your child.
yeah.
It's like just hits you in a different way. I was not doing well at all. There were a lot of tender mercies that happened. We had our nephew and at that time his girlfriend, who's now his wife. They came over and visited, and it just kind of. And then we had his dad, Eric, who is one of the area 70s over in DC.
Mm-hmm.
He happened to just be in town, and him and his oldest son Joshua, they came in and they helped me give a blessing to Colton, and it just having them there was not that having her there wasn't great, but just having extra people come and just Eric's not a very touchy guy. I am. But he wrapped his arms around me and he just tugged me. And it's what I needed, right? Like just to be able to rely on others, because I wasn't doing the best at all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And no, please don't apologize. I have been, and I want to share this. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but in the last just couple of weeks, I have been looking for a way to give my son a band of brothers. And I have been looking and I have been looking, and I even put it out on Facebook, and I'm like, where do I, because BSA doesn't earn my trust anymore, and where can I find some more exemplary men and boys to put in front of my son? And it brings my heart so much joy to know that it exists out there in small clusters. But my mission, I just poked my own eyeball. My mission has shifted quite a bit to build that for him and to build it with men that I would want him to take after. His dad's an amazing example, but I need more. I need more. And so that just makes my heart reassured to know that you know what that's like and that it exists out there. So if you're listening and you have a band of brothers, just go text them and tell them thank you. I'm just going to say that much.
And I feel like in Ben's movie, the Standout movie, like Ben talks about all the people that have been there in his life and have helped him through. And we need it so much. Like, we all go through hard things and we need that support. We need good people in our lives to help us through the hard things. So,
well, and that brings me to the next question. When I called my mom this morning, she raised 10 kids, and I asked her, I was like, she used to teach at ALA down in Spanish Fork.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's been probably 15 years.
I coached wrestling.
Did you really?
Down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I coached wrestling, and it was probably about 15 years ago.
Oh, her name, Mary Eldridge is her name.
I don't know a lot of the teachers, but I interacted with a lot of them. So she might have, anyways.
The kids probably went between both of you. Yeah. So I asked her from her perspective as a mom and from her perspective as a teacher who sees the kids more than we do on those days when they have school, right? I said, what would you want to know? And the first thing that she said is that, and this gave me so much insight into my own mother. Now, how old was Colton? Before I asked, how old was Colton when the movie was filmed? And then how old is he now?
He was 5 when it was filmed.
Wow.
And he's almost 7 now.
He's
and does
6 going on 7. 6.
We had
7.
to. So does he go to public school? Do you homeschool? Mm-hmm. So what's it like when he comes home from school? This is what my mom so brilliantly brought up for me, and it told me who she was too. She said, what is it like when he walks through the door? What do you see in his body language before he says a word? What do you pick up on as parents and as a mom specifically? What's that like?
I think it's changed over the years. And it started in preschool, right? Like going next door to our neighbors. And I think a lot depends on their personality. Colton is a lot more like Ben, actually, with his confident, very strong-willed, larger-than-life personality. So I think this question could be very different for another kid with Crouzon Syndrome or anyone else that's getting bullied or whatever. Most of the time, I think Colton is very confident and happy, and it doesn't affect him. There's been a few times. One time we were in Mexico, and we had a babysitter, and she took him to preschool, and we saw on the Ring camera that she came home just crying. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's been overwhelming. This is the first chance she's had to herself. She's probably just crying because it's a lot to take care of kids full time, whatever. Anyway, Jordan called though to make sure she was okay, and she's like, there was a kid that just made fun of Colton, and it just broke my heart. And she was crying because someone had made fun of Colton. And so I know that doesn't really relate to how Colton,
well, that's the perspective that I want is yours and the babysitters, who's ever with him.
Yeah, and it just broke her heart that someone would make fun of him. Colton has had many different reactions to that kind of stuff. There's been times that he is sad about it, and he'll lay in bed and tell me someone said my eyes looked weird today, and we just talk through it. There's other times we were swimming and someone's like, your eyes are weird. And he's like, no, they're not. Splashed him.
He just gaslit people.
And then the most recent one, so his surgery has changed his appearance. He doesn't get as many comments actually now, but he still gets some. And he was telling me that someone at school said he looked different. And he's like, but I was like, whatever. And I actually feel like a lot of that is due to this movie and his relationship with Ben. He's learned to be confident and not care as much, but it still makes him sad. But honestly, when I pick him up from school, he's running outside, he's running to the car, he's excited. I don't see much in that way, but I think once people know and understand who he is and what he's like, why he looks different, they don't treat him any different now. So at the beginning of the school years, I tried to go in and educate. I just go in and tell him, this is Colton. He's got Crouzon Syndrome. This is what he's been through. He's had surgeries. This is why he looks different. And then I try to put them on a similar level. He likes baseball. He likes his Switch. He likes these games. He likes to like this TV show or whatever. And other kids are like, oh, I like that too. I like that too. And just put them on the same playing field, I guess. And then they often just love him. And so, and then they support him. I don't know if you want to go this direction yet, but I have another story.
No,
maybe
tell me.
Along this line. We were at my daughter's softball practice, and I was playing on the playground with Colton. He was really little. At that point, I didn't really worry about what people said because he didn't understand. And my personality is a lot more non-confrontational, shyer. Like I don't necessarily want to, I don't know, put myself out there, I guess.
You're not going to pull up a podium at the playground and be like, everyone listen up.
Yes. But I've learned I have to, actually. But
really?
This kid was like, oh, his eyes are weird. He looks different or whatever. And I just ignored it and we just played and thought it would just go away. But instead he was like going up to other people like, look at this kid.
So he's like recruiting.
Yes. And I was like, I actually have to do something or else it's going to get worse. Because I thought if I just ignored it, it'll pass, it'll move on. But it was like getting worse. And so I went up and I was like, hey, this is Colton. Do you want to know why he looks a little different? And I told him about Crouzon Syndrome. And he's like, oh, okay. And it was really nice about it. And he actually would go up to other people and like, hey, you want to meet my friend Colton? And even the next week when we were there for softball practice, he's like, hey, everyone, it's Colton. Isn't he so cute? And they were like advocating for him. And I was like, it just takes teaching. Like most kids are just curious. That's the biggest thing. There are going to be examples where kids are just mean. And you can try to educate them and they don't care. They just want to be mean. And Jordan had an experience with that one, but
I thought you said you didn't want me to bring that one up.
I kind of want to know if you're okay sharing because that's when we don't know what to do.
Well, I'm very much more willing. I'm more willing than Anneli is with confronting people that are not acting the way that, Christ-like or whatever. I mean, it's not that I need to go around and police everybody else. That's not it. But when it directly has to do with my son and the way he's being treated, then I feel like there's a lesson to be learned for everyone around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were at a soccer game. Or was it a game or was it practice?
I don't know.
Anyways, we were at soccer and I actually had just had knee surgery not too long ago. And I had this big ice wrap on my knee as I'm walking. And so this girl that was probably around 14, 15 years old, she's like, what the heck? I'm like, oh, I thought she was talking about my knee, right? And I'm like, oh, it's just ice. It's great. It's fine. And she wasn't. Colton was walking in front of me, and she's like, what's wrong with his eyes? I'm like, oh, this is weird. Usually, like, that age of kid are well enough versed that they don't do that, right?
Out loud. Right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, curious. Yeah. Oh, well.
And so she's like, why are his eyes look so weird? And I'm like, well, okay, I feel like this is usually a conversation I have with a 6-year-old or, a 5-year-old that doesn't understand. This is weird that this teenager is, so I was just like, whatever, I'll tell her what's going on. And so I said, well, do you want to know why his eyes are like that? And I told her, and you could see the scar on his head. And so I told her that and everything. And then she just kind of looked at me. She's like, whatever, he looks weird or something to that effect. And I'm like, and so there is a little bit of a change in me. And I'm like, that's my son you're talking about. And don't talk about him that way. And then her dad came up and her dad was like, is there a problem here? I'm like, yeah, there's a problem. Your daughter's making fun of my son. He's like, well, that's just kids doing whatever. And I'm like, that's not how it is. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something along the lines of teach her better.
Yeah.
I can't do anything to teach her better, but I can do something to teach you better, Mr. Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was actually a friend, a chiropractor friend was walking next to me and he was just like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? She was very upset at me. for it. And she probably still is.
That's okay.
We have different personalities.
Yes, but
You're supposed to. That's meant to be that way.
But this was one of the times where I just felt like that was something that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit more confrontation than maybe some of the other ones. I don't know if it had an effect on that girl or that man. But I do remember talking with my friend afterwards, my chiropractor friend afterwards. And this was like right afterwards, it was one thing. But then like a few weeks afterwards, he actually was like, I'm really glad that you did what you did. You stood up for your son. And so, yes, was there a better way to do it? I'm sure there was, right? But
I would have done what you did. I totally would have been like, listen, pal.
Well, you look at Ben, and Ben is a great example for me.
He's a better person than I am. I will just say that right now.
He's just so, it's kindness, right? And I didn't feel that kindness for those people at that time. And, at a certain point in time, I'm sure I need to, right? But yeah, there's always a better way to do it. I fully admit that there's probably a better way to do it, but I'm glad that I did what I did. I feel like I stood up for him the way I needed to.
Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people that bully people or are mean to people is because they're hurting inside themselves.
And I think that's totally true.
And
it doesn't excuse the behavior.
No,
it does help explain it. Doesn't excuse it.
Yeah.
I think about how that went down, and maybe this is terrible of me, but when I think of Christ-like behavior, it usually means kindness. And then I also think of Christ-like behavior as he braided a whip and he went to a temple and he threw the tables over. And that was by definition Christ-like behavior as well, because Christ did it, right? And so in my mind, I wrestle with that. And when is the time for the kinder than necessary? And when is the time to say, I'm going to turn your table right now because that's the definition of Christ-like behavior? And I have trouble differentiating the two, especially when it comes to my kids. Oh man, if they're ever threatened or deliberately endangered, I'm the mama bear that comes out and like, you had your chance for kindness and you lost it. And most of the times I do like to say it's, I'm going to get past you're extending hurt because it's already inside of you. And I know it's not about me and I know it's not personal. So I'm going to try and give nurture. But if that nurture is rejected, you lost your chance. And maybe that's imperfect of me. I don't know, but it's hard to tell in every situation. I'm bad at it.
See, I'm more the person I used to just avoid the confrontation. So I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, correct it and make it better.
Yeah. I'll go wild rabbit raccoon on someone if I need to.
You two are probably more similar.
But it takes a lot to deserve that. It does take a lot to deserve that. And what you bring up is something I actually wanted to talk about because it's hurt people that hurt people, and it's healed people that healed people. And bullying is not genetic, it's generational though. It's not generational necessarily within a family, although it can be, but it's generational within this third grader bullied this second grader. So this second grader is going to grow up to be a third grader who bullies people. Right.
Yeah.
And I hope to be a part of my leadership is to eliminate that and heal the person who is bullied like you've done with Colton. And
and this is kind of similar. Colton gets a lot of pointed fingers or like just curiosity or like why you look different. And it's a little ironic because Colton will point out differences in other people too. And
really?
Like,
He'll just point right back.
You would think that because he gets so much of it, he wouldn't, but maybe it's kind of the same lines. Like people do that to him, so he does it to other people too.
Yeah.
I also think that there's a lot of merit in not just avoiding that hard conversation that people have. Like, if you want to know, like, people that have an obvious disability and they're out there putting themselves out there, they don't want people just to ignore it at times. And if you ask about it, that way you're informed about it. And then I think that's refreshing to people at times. that have things like that, like with Colton, if they come up and they're like, hey, so tell me about these scars on your cheeks. What happened? There's ways to approach it so that you understand and that you know, and that you're just not pretending like there's nothing different.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are scared to approach. So sometimes when I see that kids are curious, I'll just say, hey, do you want to meet Colton?
Like, that is so angelic. That is like,
and just
so inspired.
Tell about him. You know, they're probably curious anyway. So if someone says hi to you, you can say hi back and just start a conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I was in kindergarten, there was a kid, and I don't know, I wonder what happened to him. I wonder if I'll ever hear this, but his name is Scott Stober, and he had 9 fingers. And one of his hands was deformed, and his mom did the same thing you did. And she went at the beginning of the year, and she said, hey, everybody, this is Scott. He's got 9 fingers. He had to have one amputated, blah, blah, blah. He likes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he likes this. And, like, he was my little kindergarten boyfriend, right? Like, I was like, wow, cool. He's so awesome. And I think what you're doing takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage, because when people see something different, there's an element of fear, and we all handle fear differently. And we sometimes react to fear with bullying or anger or whatever. And what you're doing is creating a bridge that eliminates fear, because you create curiosity. And you said something at the very beginning that said the way that Colton is different is very visible, but the way that we as human beings are different is not always visible. It's invisible, and our opinions are sometimes invisible until they're not. But if we can create that bridge of curiosity, that can get ahead of and eliminate a lot of the potential for anger, bullying, whatever issues we might come up against. Yeah. And you're doing such a just exemplary job of that.
When he was little, sometimes I would want to just stay home. I wouldn't want to go places because people would stare. And I remember just feeling so different going to the grocery store with him than by myself, because I would have lots of people staring at me. And sometimes I would think, I don't want to go anywhere. And then I thought, okay, if I go as many places as I can while he's a baby and he doesn't care, maybe people get used to the fact that he looks different. So when he's older, it won't. And then I realized there are so many people in this world. I will never expose him enough to have someone. There will always someone who it's new to, right? And I've just learned you can't approach it that way either. I mean, it's good to get out and not be scared of being different, but you're always going to encounter people that have never seen him before or seen something like that before. And so you just have to get out and learn to deal with it. And it was very outside my comfort zone. It's a little ironic because all growing up, all I wanted to do was fit in life. Like I wanted to have the same clothes as everyone and the same lunch as my friends at school. I didn't want to be different. It's just so ironic that God has given me a chance to learn to be different.
To stand out. That's what the movie's all about,
exactly.
Right? When we watched the movie, that moment where, I just cried like the whole time watching it. And, I've heard Ben speaks about this moment a lot when he gets on stage, when he was little, and this is where Colton represented him. He runs into the bathroom because he didn't get to eat his Twix bar because he'd lost his appetite because someone made fun of him. And he's staring in the mirror, facing reality of being different. And his mom comes in and has this conversation. I'm sure you had the equivalent with him, or you will soon. What was that like for you? And did the movie change anything? Yeah.
It's just meeting Ben in general changed so much of our outlook of this.
Ben is somebody that makes you want to be a better person. Everybody wants to be around Ben, and Ben makes you feel important, right? Everybody. He takes that time and effort. I don't know how he does it. It's just
he's
exhausting.
Got a gift.
I get exhausted watching him do it. I'm just like, I'm sitting there because I'm there with Colton, right? And I'm like, how do you do this? And it's just, Ben has been a great example and a huge inspiration. And the thing is, I remember when we were doing different things, and I thought for a second, I'm like, man, I wish I had a facial difference, because like I could really. I was like, wait, what am I talking about? Like I just need to be me. Like how many people sit there and hope that they look like something different, when they look quote unquote normal, right? Which there is no normal, but and I found myself thinking of Ben Crouzon syndrome as truly what he says it is, a superpower. And I'm like, I want a superpower. I want that superpower.
Are you kidding? You're a life flight paramedic. Like, seriously.
So it's just, it's amazing to see that. And it's not like there's some, like we were doing things this way before and we completely changed stuff. No, it's just the influence of what Ben and Nicole and their family have been on our lives. And this movie has just really given Colton a ton of confidence, right? And it's everything, like people wanting his autograph, people wanting pictures with him, people, all these different things. Like he's like, man, I'm an awesome kid,
He
right?
thinks he's famous.
Yeah.
Well, truth. So that was one of the questions that one of my sisters had, and I'm going to read it because my siblings are pretty dang cool. I have a whole list. So my let's see. Okay, so my brother wants to know what efforts were made to protect Colton during filming. Ben kind of covered him a little bit about like making fun of and the name calling, but from your perspective, you had to reenact some of the hardest parts of Ben's childhood in the movie. How was that done in a way that protected Colton from reliving those?
Well, and honestly, I feel like we went into the movie not really understanding how they were going to do everything. We just knew we had met Ben and we thought the world of him and the influence would be the best thing for him. And so I think we went into it realizing it might be hard, but it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But they did such a good job at protecting Colton that like I'm in awe of how they did it. But they never said anything mean in front of him.
It was like chicken nuggets or
When it came to the name calling.
Yes.
yeah,
right?
and they just go and the kid, either the bully, the kid that was the younger bully, or the dad. And in the movie, the two kids that were with the dad, those are our other two older kids.
Oh, so that's his siblings.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so him being right there probably helped him a little bit with the acting part and the things that he wanted him to do. But they wouldn't say anything. They'd just say random things.
While the camera was on Colton.
Yeah, while Colton was there and they were doing it, right? So so they didn't say round face. They didn't say anything like that. Or sorry, flat face. Right.
That was the comeback.
Yeah, that was the comeback. And then we would take Colton and we'd go somewhere in a different room and he couldn't hear what was going on or anything like that. And there was one time where we were at a school and we were doing it and we'd go into a different room and there were fans on in there because they'd cleaned the carpets and we couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was they made sure to protect him. And now he's seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
A lot. And I don't even think it affects him, honestly.
Yeah.
He'll say, what does he say? He's like,
the first time we watched it, you know how he goes into the bathroom and slams the door and then the mom can't get in because the door is locked.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't lock the door. Like, he's
What is
confused
this movie
because-
magic?
But he's never really said anything about it. And I think if they had said the mean things in front of him, even though you could say, hey, they're just acting, this is Ben's life, I think it still would affect you to be in that moment and having someone say that to you. And that's what they were protecting him from. But watching it in the movie, I don't know, maybe it feels distant or something, but he's never said anything about it.
Yeah.
And
I think also like at 5 years old, there's a huge difference between a 6 and a 7-year-old and the understanding that comes with it. Even though they're still young and there's a lot more to understand, but just that mental development helps them to be able to process things and understand things on a different level. And I think it was the perfect timing for Colton to see it when he saw it.
Oh, wow. And be involved in it and the production of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's all good experiences from filming it. Like there was nothing.
I have more questions from my siblings that like, it was so crazy that my brother texted me, have you seen this movie? And I was like, oh man, you guys. So you kind of covered this already, but my brother Steve wants to know about the relationship that he and Ben have developed. And I was also curious, like, how did Ben find you guys? Because he told me he was searching worldwide and found Colton in our own backyard.
We had no idea that he was searching, that they were making a movie or that they were searching.
Yeah. We didn't even know, even once Ben, okay, so let's start from the beginning. Because this involves me a little bit more than other things. So I knew who Ben was. I'm a wrestler, or I was a wrestler back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? And not near as good as Ben. Not even close. But so I really enjoy watching wrestling. And Anneli was actually going to UVU at about the same time as when Ben was wrestling, and we were just very newlyweds. And so I would come with her to UVU, and I'd have time to. Anyways, I don't know exactly when I started like getting really interested in watching Ben, but I'd see him and I'd watch his matches, on TV and different things. But I actually saw the match live when he went up, at NCAA championships or NCAA tournament against Anthony.
Yeah.
And so I was rooting for Ben, but it's like I'm kind of rooting for Anthony as well.
The underdog sort of.
I mean? Yeah. It's just like
you can't lose in that scenario.
I'm just like, man, it's like, well, but I just loved watching Ben wrestle. And so then his college career was done and stuff. And I knew who he was, but it kind of just faded away. It's not like I knew that there was something different about his face. I didn't know, nor did I care what it was. I just loved watching him wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a church ad that, or not, I don't even know an ad, but a church message that was sent. And it starts off by, "My name is Ben, and I have Crouzon Syndrome." And before I had no clue what Crouzon Syndrome was. After Colton was born, I became very aware with what Crouzon Syndrome was. And so Colton at this point in time was a year and a half, right? So he'd gone through these surgeries, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
So that's where it circled back.
Yeah. I'm like,
we saw this video.
That's the same guy.
I'm like, he has Crouzon Syndrome. I'm like, I knew right then that Colton needed to meet him.
Yeah.
Well, and his message was like in that video, his message is so hopeful of like becoming a victor instead of a victim of your circumstances. And life is full of challenges and just his confidence. And it's like, we need that example in our lives. We need to have that be our goal. Like, I was scared of meeting people. I was scared of all the stories online because of what his life would be like. But then I see Ben, I'm like, there's hope. Like, this is what I want my son to look up to and realize that life can be good even though you have this. And anyway.
And then what do? Invite Ben over for dinner? Like, how do you?
That's what we did. You did.
Well, but the thing is I procrastinated. I got a hold of Ben. It took us a few years. Like almost immediately after seeing it on Facebook Messenger. I knew when I saw that, I knew in the back of my mind I could get a hold of Ben. I didn't know how, but I knew that. But I just knew. And so I got a hold of Ben, and he's like, "I'd love to meet your son." And then how many years later?
It was like 3 years later.
3 years later, I finally come back to. Rewind.
It took some promptings.
Yeah, there was some promptings, and I knew like I was procrastinating so bad. But the thing is, before I saw that Ben had Crouzon Syndrome, I wouldn't say I was in denial, but I didn't want to be a part of the Facebook groups. I didn't want to look things up. I didn't want to hear stories of everybody. I didn't want to go meet everybody, and stuff, because I'm like, these people aren't mine. This is my boy.
It kind of traumatized you a little bit.
Yeah.
Emily,
and I would just kind of ignore it. I'm like, he's a good boy. He's a healthy boy. We're good. I don't need any of that.
We had things to work through.
Yeah.
Dealing with this.
But then when I saw Ben, it's like something flipped. It's like I need him to meet Ben. And so I still procrastinated because I'm an idiot. But we were at a baseball game for my other son. He was at the time, so I guess if Colton was 4. Anyways. And as we're walking out, this random guy in the outfield of a game, watching a Little League game, he's like, "Hey, is that your son?" And he points to Colton. I'm like, "Yeah, he is." He's like, "He needs to meet my buddy." I'm like, "Let me guess, Ben Kjar." He's like, yeah.
How did you know that?
Yeah, and he even offered to give me Ben's number if I remember right. And I'm like, "No, I can do it. Fine, I'll do it." Right? Like in my mind, I'm thinking that, and I went back and I messaged Ben again. I got his number somehow, and I think he sent it to me over, and then invited him over for dinner. And we finally did, and they came over.
Funny.
Yeah, they
like
came over. Nicole and all the kids, And they probably spent like 5 hours at our house. We just had a
Wow.
great
I don't know if
time.
it's that long,
But what? It was like 18 hours at our house. They stayed the
They slept
night.
over.
It was great.
It was so good though. And I
Yeah.
honestly thought it was going to be the only encounter we had with him. So I was like asking all my questions, life lessons. Like I was trying to get it all out. We had no idea.
No
they
idea
were
there was
looking-
a movie. Nothing.
Did he know? Were they in production
I
at that
guess
point?
so. Like
They
we found out
were-
later.
Yeah, we found out
Whoa.
later,
Because
right?
he said he walked in the door and he's like, I saw Colton, and not only did he look like me, but he acted like me.
Yeah.
And
That's what he said.
Yeah.
When I had him on the show just a little while ago. It
Uh-huh.
was actually a year ago, but
And
Yeah.
8-9 months later, they called us and asked, or they got a hold of us and they asked if we would be willing to have him. And we just thought, like, we talked about it. We talked to Colton about it, right?
Yeah.
And we just thought, what better way to show him that he has nothing to be ashamed of. So
yeah.
that's how we got in contact with Ben. And from there on out, like, we become pretty good friends with everybody. Thinks Ben is their best friend, because he makes you feel so great. We're good friends with them, and we really do appreciate the fact that they have
And this
been such
movie
an
really
influence
has
in our lives.
made
Yeah.
a stronger bond with him than
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Colton loves Ben. Colton looks up to Ben. The relationship that they have is
I know.
great.
I love looking at them when they're
That picture of
interacting.
them together is so freaking cute.
The
oh
one,
my
which
gosh.
one? The one.
He's like crouching. Ben's wearing a vest and he's crouching
It's-
down.
Oh yeah.
with his
Definitely.
And
arm.
if you look at on the caption, it says Ben Kjar and his son on it. And
Well-
Ben texted us. He's like, "I've never been more proud to call somebody my son." It's pretty funny. It's funny that people make those mistakes. They're I know they're innocent mistakes and stuff, but it's just, I think that was a cute one. I think. But I'm like, I'm his dad. No.
That's me. I put in the work.
Yeah.
So with the movie has been here in Utah. Thank goodness. I'm so glad it came local here. My brother was just telling me, he's like, this is the movie that I would actually hop in my airplane and fly 500 miles and go see, because they live in Texas. So, one of the things that I love that Tanner did with the movie and that you've done with the movie is not necessarily like creating a ribbon awareness for Crouzon Syndrome, right? What it's all about is not only the pursuit of dreams, the pursuit of kindness.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is more infectious than anything. I saw Instagram the other day of a guy's like, we have an awareness for this, and awareness for this. I'd like to have a less awareness. I don't know if I need to put together like a 5K for being unaware of things. We have enough awareness for all of the things that there's to be awareness for, but it's what something kindness is tangible for everybody. Crouzon syndrome is a part of your family's life and a part of Ben's family life and countless people, and that's a big deal. But kindness is relevant to everybody, and I think that's the beautiful part of this movie.
And honestly, sometimes I think that Colton has less of a chance of getting bullied than normal kids. Like, there is so much bullying that happens, and I feel like we do so much for Colton, and there's so much awareness with kids that are different. But there's a lot of kids that get bullied and get hurt and feel bad because of other things. And so, yeah, the kindness, we just need to spread kindness, not just for Crouzon syndrome, but for everyone and all the different things that they're going through.
Yeah.
Ben, you can see this progression in the movie. We talked about this, but Ben started, with the bully, in the little kid in the elementary school. He's like, he fought back and said, hey, round face, right?
Mhm.
And he even says in the movie, was that the best thing to do? Yeah, probably not. But he stopped talking to me like that afterwards. And so it was this eye for an eye thing, right? And then he proceeds, like his mom says, she saw a change in him where instead of like insulting back, he used humor. He used humor to do that. He's like, well, I'm not giving up on you, babe, right? That whole part of it. And then it progressed even further as Ben became Ben, right?
Yeah.
The Ben that we know and love now as into kindness. And so you see that progression, and that's something that progression would work in so many different areas with so many different people. And so just, seeing that type of outlook, like Ben's just a really good person. He's found the best way to inspire other people. So through kindness, which is crazy.
And you're doing the same thing. I mean, the movie didn't have your faces in it, but it had your influence.
I am in the credits.
Are you? Oh, good.
There's
Hold the mic.
there's a point in when Colton was trying to open the elementary school door.
Yeah.
It's like a bomb door, I swear. And so he's like both hands leaning back, and I'm like, okay. So I was behind the door, and I opened it and made sure it
So he's
closed
the door
properly.
holder.
That's your door holder. That's your
That's
credit.
me. You don't see me in it at all. I'm crouched behind there. You don't see me, but I jokingly said they need to put me in the credits, and they did. I'm
That's
fourth
amazing.
from the bottom. Just
He's
saying.
pretty proud of it.
I'm
I'm in
like,
there.
IMBD or whatever that is. Like, I probably have a
You should have a profile in
on
there
Yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah, professional door holder.
And Ben, it was funny when we were going into a theater. This was in Richfield, and I went to open the door. He's like, "Yeah, doing what you were born to do." I'm like, and I wrote that down.
So what message would you have for parents of kids who are trying to help their kids through being bullied, as whether they have a physical disability or a visible disability or not? What message do you want to leave behind for the parents that are trying to help their kids?
So I actually went to the junior high where my daughter goes to when Ben went and spoke to this school just like a few months ago. And I was really impressed with Ben's message. It wasn't just on like awareness of bullying, but how to become bully resistant. And I thought that was just a new twist on things of, and I feel like I'm going to, I don't know, maybe not give his message justice, but
This was your message now.
yeah. But lots of the things I've learned from him are creating things in your own life that you feel confident about. So if you can create that confidence for yourself, then who cares what other people say or think about you, because you're confident in yourself, because you are good at this, or you just have a purpose in life, right? Like you do things for yourself and you don't have to care what other people think so much. Because I think there's always going to be someone that's mean or says mean things or whatever. But if you can have that not affect you so much, then I don't think people will keep bullying you. Like if they see it doesn't really affect you, it's not going to be as fun to bully you, if that makes any sense.
Because they don't get a response.
Yeah.
It's like throwing sand at a freight train.
Yeah. Like, and that's one of the first messages Ben left with us when he came to our house for dinner that night is find something that he loves. Find something to be the best at. It doesn't matter what it is. Just find something that he loves and he can put all his effort into, and that builds confidence. And then it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter any of those things. It doesn't matter what people say, because you can be confident. So
I resonate with that so hard. Find your thing and go for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, and I 100% agree with her. She couldn't have said it better. But I think surrounding yourself with good people is going to be key. Colton and us, but specifically Colton, has so many good people in his life. I truly believe that his siblings were sent here for him. Elena, our oldest daughter, is an amazing young woman that just loves the love that she has, and the patience that she has as a 14-year-old is insane. And Brooks, his the next oldest sibling that he has, is such a tender-hearted and sweet boy that you should have seen him with Colton, how much he loved just holding him. He is the best big
Like
brother
as a baby.
you could, the best big brother you could ever have is Brooks. Of course they fight. Of course they do different things and stuff like that. But Brooks has stepped in to protect him. Brooks has told his friends if and when they've made fun of Colton, he's like, don't do that. And Brooks will defend Colton to the death. I guarantee it. He is such a good boy. And then there's Davis, who right now Colton just loves that kid and just wants to be around, wants to touch him, wants to hold him, wants to hug him. He's got such an amazing support, a net of support with his siblings. And then you have people like Ben and every time we go places, it's like, oh, hey, Colton. Everybody knows Colton. Everybody loves Colton. I think that if anybody made fun of Colton in a public forum, I think you'd have 10 or 15 people step up and and just be like, don't say that to him. He just has so many good people that love him in his life. And I think that's key. It's one of the messages in the movie, you know, surround yourself with good people, right? So I think that's one of the things that I'd say. Find good people, surround yourself with them, and those people teach you how to be better, right? Yeah.
Well, as we wrap up, I just want, if you haven't seen the movie yet and you're watching this, go see the movie, go buy a ticket. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters or if they're going to put it on the Angel Studios platform. I hope
they
so.
Will. It's going to streaming sometime in March.
Oh, so this month.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I thought that's what they, no, he told me the date. I just don't remember what it is.
Okay.
I know that it as of a couple days ago, there's still a couple of movie theaters that have it, one of the more busy ones, right? And I don't know, but they're traveling and stuff at different spots, and they may have like a second round of the movie being in theaters. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there is still places you can see it right now, and sometime this month you're going to be able to stream it on Angel.
Oh, cool.
And the more you watch it, the more you get out of it. Like, people have told us they liked it better the second time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, there's that message. And I never saw that one the first time. Like, there's just so many different messages that you can take from it. Like, more than kindness, more than like not bullying, more than finding something to do and creating good habits. And I don't know, like, there's just so many things. So.
We had the opportunity to see it a lot of different times and in different phases of development.
Right.
And so that's impacted us too. But yeah, that Anneli makes fun of me because I say I've seen it like 30 plus times. She's like, there's no way. There's no way you saw that many times. But
that is not accurate.
Again, I've seen it so many times, and every single time I tear up. Every single time I get something that I didn't notice, like she was saying before. This is truly like an inspired story. And Ben's story is amazing, but you can have the best story. You can have the best person. But if you don't have somebody that can put it together the way that Tanner did, which Tanner did, I don't know how he did what he did, but it was amazing. And even TC Christensen, his dad, said, it's so nice to see your son surpass what I have done.
Wow.
That's coming from TC. That's a big thing.
Wow.
And I agree. I think Tanner is going to surpass his dad in that directing. And what's so amazing about TC is that he's so happy about it.
Good. And that's what every parent wants.
Yeah.
I hope that as a parent that my kids do better than I did. Absolutely. Please outrun me. Please pass me up.
Yeah.
Well, I so appreciate both of you being willing to come on the show, being willing to share your experience. And maybe a year from now, we'll see what the updates are and see what's going on with Colton and the other kids. But I just want to tell you how grateful I am for good parents like you. I want to tell you how grateful I am that there are people that I've never met before who also teach their kids the things that I would hope my kids' friends know. That are kind when they drive, that are kind when they go through the drive-thru at a restaurant, that are the kind of people that I want my kids around. Because like you said, I don't get to control that, but I pray for it a lot. So I just want to say thank you for being more of the people that I would love to surround myself with.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Friends, if you haven't seen the movie, I'll put a link. I'll find a link to the movie and I'll put it below. And if you don't catch this in time for the movie to be in theaters, please go get your Angel Studio subscription and watch it there. Watch it with your friends. Watch it with your family. And let's help this message of kindness just spread like wildfire. Let's infect the world with it. Thank you for being here on the Marianne Hickman Show, and I'll see you in the next episode.